Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently, well, performing more capitalism. That is obviously a thing that must continue. So at this point, we need to go down here and try to find some things to purchase. Wow, that scroll was exciting. Okay, so let's see if we can buy anything in North America still. I'm interested in still purchasing Pennsylvania, in purchasing Nova Scotia, in Texas. I'd really like to get that under control. So let's see if they'll give us Texas. No. Okay, fair enough. We'll keep trying. Next up would be Nova Scotia. We got that. So that seems great. And then the question is Pennsylvania available in this list? Because that's the only other thing pretty much that we need in North America. Well, for now, that's all we got. Okay. So we can try to buy some of Romania. No. Okay. Let's see what we can get from the Soviet Union. Okay, we got some territory there. Any more Soviet territory? Yes. Oh, some Somali territory over here, too. Excellent. Maybe Iran is willing to give this up? They are. Perfect. Next up would be more Ethiopian land. And this is going pretty well thus far. Trying to buy Algiers from the French Commune. They don't want to give it up. Fair enough. And we're out of political power for now. Excellent. So, you know what that means. It's time to build infrastructure in our new areas. So, that is absolutely wonderful. We took over quite a number of areas over here. Did we get anything else over here? No. Okay. Cool. So, let's head on over this direction because we need to get Nova Scotia as well. And then we'll get our anti-air going, of course. And that's going to be down over this direction. Perfect. Little bit of territory out over here. Now we're auto-saving. We can build here. We cannot build up over here. Noted. Next up, factories. So we'll get those going. I don't think we got anything that is going to result in any land, or rather any coastal forts. We'll see in just a moment, though. So we'll get all of this built up. That seems great. Anything up over here? No. Anything over in Britain? Yes. There we go. And in North America, we will, of course, need a fair number of additional factories. There we go. Okay, so let's check in on coastal forts. There is actually Nova Scotia. That'll need coastal forts. So we can definitely get that queued on up. Perfect. And I don't think there's anything that was coastal out over here, right? No. Okay. Looks good. So there's everything queued up there. That'll be absolutely fine. We'll get all of that constructing. It'll take some time. And next up, we are just going to need to buy more things. I want to check in on the status of Pennsylvania. Looks like we can't ask for that just yet. And our list is starting to get a little shorter, but that's good. We want this list to get shorter. So, let's see about buying Constantine from the French Commune. They accepted that. Excellent. And we got some research from that as well. We can see about buying Casablanca from the Communist States of America. They're okay with it. And next up, Wello from Ethiopia. They don't want to give that up. Fair enough. Hey, Somalia, you want to give us some land? They do. Fantastic. Okay, that was exciting. This moved very significantly on us there. Next up would be Olonets. We got it. Yaroslavl. Yes. Excellent. Gorky. Done. The Soviet Union is taking a little while to think about these. Interesting. So next up would be Ivanovo, and let's see what we've got there. They gave it to us. Perfect. And then Tikvin. Tikvin? I don't know how to pronounce things in Russian, I'll be honest. I know very little about the Russian language. So at this point, that is all absolutely good. And we are done with our purchases for now. Once again, we are political power locked. So that looks good. And it's time to build infrastructure yet again. This is a very repetitive cycle. I'm not going to lie. I mentioned that last episode, and it's still true. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. But we're making good progress. So, sure. I don't think we got anything out over this way. No, we did not. So I believe that's all of the infrastructure that we need. And then some anti-air up over this way. We got a lot of land from the Soviet Union in that cycle, so that was good. Is this down here? Did we get that with infrastructure? Yes, we did. Okay, what about this up over here? That looks good. We need some anti-air up over here, though. And that looks fine. Okay, so next up would, of course, be... we can do the coastal forts. There's definitely some coastline down here that we got. So let's get that finished up. The United Kingdom has disavowed appeasement. Well, okay then. And Chile has declared war on itself again. They're doing this about 3 times a year at this point. It's kind of insane. So it looks like we did not get any coastal territory up here. I don't think we got any down here either. So next up, let's go for those sweet, sweet civilian factories. We got to get those underway, or else at a certain point, we're going to have a big problem. We have to keep this ball rolling. Otherwise, we're going to run out of factories, and things are going to be a significant issue for us if that happens. So for now, let's just get all of this queued back up. And of course, in the meantime, our political power is building back up. So that all looks great. I would still love to get our hands on Texas, but the U.S. is not, or I guess the communist states of America, are not particularly willing to give that up. Fair enough. So there's quite a lot of civilian factories to be queued here. That looks great. At this point, there's nothing new to buy from Canada, so we can't do anything else there. That's noted. So I want to check in to see if Pennsylvania is back here. I'm not sure when it will be back. Here it is. Pennsylvania. Do we get it? No. No, we do not. Okay, so the Communist States of America did not want to give us Pennsylvania. Absolutely fair enough. We have almost all of North America at this point. What's our status on coring? I didn't check that. It's going to be at the bottom of this very extensive list. We're not coring anything right now. And we probably should be. So let's let our construction continue for a little bit here. We do have a fair amount in the queue here, as you can see. So let's work away on that for a little bit while we save up enough political power to get a core going. So that'll be great. As we can see here, we're almost up to 50k recruitable monthly growth. That's insane. And our garrison numbers are about 500,000. Now, can we ask our vassal states for garrison manpower when we're not at war? Apparently we can. They gave us 1.72 million. So that is plenty. That will cover all of our garrison manpower. So that looks great. Our people no longer have to work on garrisoning. They'll handle that. Beautiful. So that is absolutely wonderful. And next up, we're going to be coring Al-Anbar. I'm just kind of going through the list here. It's very slow. No doubt about that. But we need 120 political power to get this core going. And I really do want to have cores rolling in at a fairly slow pace, to be sure, but I want them to be rolling in, so that looks good. I just want to check through this as we go down and make sure that there's not anything else in here that's 30. It shouldn't be. Yeah, so that's good. So we're coring that for a good long time, and then the next thing that we want to try to get, ideally would be Texas, but that is not going to be in the list. So we'll continue to take over in Asia and Europe. We're largely in control of Asia at this point, and largely in control of Africa, and largely in control of North America. But we're not in total control of any of it. And that's fine. So, let's see about the Soviet Union giving us some territory. After this autosave. Anyway. No, they don't want to give us that. Okay, that's fine. We'll come back to it. We've got lots more things that we can try to buy. So, Udmurtia would be the next location. I don't think I pronounced that correctly, but it's okay. No, Africa Nova, get out of here. Absolutely not. We're going to core you. We're not going to release you. We have no reason to do so at this point. We cannot funnel industry any longer. So, this is fine. Next up would be Marielle, and we'll see if we get that. No. Soviet Union is not very willing to give us more land at this point. Well, that's rude. It's very rude. Well, in that case, we may want to just chill for a moment here because... No, get out of here, Nigeria. Because we don't have much for political power, and we don't have anything to build either. Well, we can try to get this from Finland. They gave it to us. Perfect. Excellent. So we can keep trying to get territory from Finland. That's absolutely a thing that we can do. Queue up infrastructure here. There we go. And anti-air. And there should be some coastal forts here. So at least we finally have some building to do. There we go. And then civilian factories wherever we can. Couple of civilian factories to be built out here. I'm not expecting too many of them to be needed. But there we go. Something along the lines of that. Do we have this? Yes, we do. Excellent. And up over here as well. Looks good. Is this our territory? Yes, it is. There we go. So there's a number of civilian factories. Wow, 7 queued up here? They just didn't have that maxed out. That's kind of wild. Okay, we'll try to buy more Finnish territory. They accepted that one. And that one. And I'd love to get Murmansk. Surely they're not going to give us that, right? They did. Okay. Wild. Absolutely wild. Look at those resources. I love it. So that's absolutely great. And next would be Marrakesh. This is, of course, down in like the Morocco area. Communist States of America unwilling to give us that. Fair enough. Let's take a look at our newly acquired territories. We're definitely going to have some construction to do up over here. So we'll get some infrastructure in. We'll get some anti-air in. There we go. And we can go through and do civilian factories. These just come from random locations, so we have to check over everything when doing civilian factories. I kind of wish we could designate that they come from a particular area, but alas, that's not a thing that we can do, and I doubt that would be all that easy to implement. Maybe it would be, but it would be convenient if we just said, only use the factories from Britain for this, and then we can just replenish the factories in Britain, right? Something along those lines would be nice. But alas, that's not the way it works. So we do need to get some coastal forts in over here. That's going to specifically be up here, queuing these up at the bottom of the list. They are low priority for the moment. We're not even defending these areas. So it all looks good. There we go. And now we've got some political power here. So I want to check in, is Texas back? Yes, we can try Texas again. No. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll get it eventually. We just keep trying. So next up would be... Get out of here, Tanzania. No. Next up would be more Finnish territory. They're unwilling to part with that. Fair enough. What about some of Greece? Yeah, we got it. What about more of Greece? No. Okay. So next up is some Soviet Union territory. They're not willing to give us that. What about this? Okay, we got that. Perfect. So that's all of our political power for now. And just checking up over this direction. That's good there. We need some infrastructure here and here, though. Okay, and then next up would be some anti-air over here and over here. We didn't get very much from that one. A lot of people told us no, which is good. They should be doing that. Hey, look, there's another war in Chile. That is very, very frequent. Altogether too frequent, in fact. Something weird's going on there. I don't really have an explanation. So these new territories, I think, did have a little bit of coastline, didn't it? Yeah, right here. Just that one spot. Beautiful. And then more civilian factories, of course, as top priority. That was a laggy moment. Okay, I can't blame that one on autosave. I'm not sure entirely what that was from. But sure. What about out over here? Illinois needs a new factory. That looks great. Okay. Well, we're just definitely creeping on through. We do need an in into South America. So the question is, do we want to go to war with the Colombian Socialist Republic? Well, last I checked, they're part of the Allies. Yeah. Basically, everyone is part of the Allies. So, you know, that's a thing. Hey, look, the Chilean War is over. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. We just need to continue to push into Europe at this point. Everything that we take over here, pretty much, other than these up here, weaken the Allies, and that's very good for us to do. We really want to weaken the Allies a lot. So let's see about buying more from the Soviet Union. We got it. Fantastic. Can we get more? Yes. How about more? This is now exclaved out over here, so it's probably more likely that they're willing to give this up. And that would be great. They're actually giving us a lot at this point. Can we get Dagestan? Yes, we can. What about Georgia? We got that too. That was a huge chunk of the Soviet Union that we just got. I'm going to try pushing our luck one more time for Perm. I expect them to deny this. But they gave it to us. Wow. Okay, well, we got to go do another construction pass. That was a lot of territory in the Soviet Union that we just got. That's fantastic. We are very, very happy about that, of course. The Provisional Government of Tibet. No. Get out of here. So, is this territory here? Nope. And I don't think we hold any of that. Cool. So next up, as soon as this autosave is over, is going to be the anti-air out over this way. We'll get all of that in there eventually. There we go. And are there any coastal forts to be built over there? No, we can't build coastal forts on the Black Sea. That's right. So that's absolutely fine, and we would, of course, next go for our civilian factories, of which we should need to build a lot. And the reason for that, of course, is because we bought a lot of territory there. So that's great. We are delighted by that. Quite a large number of regions should need new civilian factories. Kingdom of Egypt? No. Why would they think that we're willing to give them independence? Very rude of them. Okay, let's get all of that queued up, and then let's check over in North America. Yep, a little bit of territory over here that needs to be done, for sure. There we go, and that all looks good. So that's a lot of civilian factories, no doubt about that. Finno-Russian petition for preservation of Sapmi. Huh. They're petitioning us to release them from the territory traditionally held by the Sami, so that they may better protect this group as a united people. They want the territory. No. Absolutely not. Get out of here. That's not going to happen. They will flourish under our rule. We cause absolutely no problems whatsoever for anyone. I'm quite certain about this. And not completely and totally out of touch. We don't just ruthlessly exploit everyone and put them to work in the factories. That's absolutely not what happens here. So next up, we need to... Where is Rio de Oro again? Oh, yeah. That spot. Well, now we own it. Excellent. So we can try to buy British... Oh, okay, this moved on us again. We can try to buy British Somaliland, and I'd like to try to do that. The Somali Democratic Republic is unwilling to part with that land. Okay, fair enough. Well, now we're back to Soviet Union territories. There are still a number of those, although I'm not seeing where this is highlighted. Oh, it's right over here. I see it now. Okay, cool. So let's get that done as soon as we can. Got it. Beautiful. Next would be Kalinin, which they gave us. Okay, how much else are they willing to give us? We've created quite an appendage going out over this way. Honestly, if we could cut that off, that'd be very good. I'm just scrolling through the list, trying to find where we can cut that off from. Here we go. Let's see if they'll give us that. They did. Perfect. So, the Soviet Union is pretty screwed at this point, as is the Communist States of America. It's not a good situation for either. For anyone, in fact. At this point, I would argue that we are, in fact, the preeminent power on the planet, and there's not really anyone who can stop us. I don't think even the Allies would be capable of stopping us at this point. So there's that. We'll see if we can grab any additional territory here. What do we got? Well, we're getting some anyway. Excellent. Well, we're out of political power, so you know what that means. Time for infrastructure. Let's get that all queued up here. And at this point, our resources have to be kind of insane, right? I'm pretty sure our resources are very, very insane. And yeah, that's all of the territories over there that we got. That sounds good. We need to get some anti-air going over here, and then we need to get civilian factories. I don't think we got anything that's going to be coastal forts. I'm like 45% certain about that. Technically, there's this. That was a while ago, though. So we'll get that in there. That'll be fine. And then, of course, civilian factories. Gotta get these replenished. Soviet-French pact, huh? Okay. Well, that's going to be interesting for them, I'm sure. Not that there's that much left of the Soviet Union at this point, so that's going to be problematic for them. The French just need to look at the map and be like, maybe the Soviet Union isn't quite the ally that we thought it was. That'll be exciting for them to find out, I'm sure. We haven't started purchasing any of their territory yet. Actually, we've tried to purchase some of their territory on Africa, but we've not purchased any of their, like, main territory. But we'll get there. We are creeping towards them like the Black Death at this point. And the reason I went with the Black Death instead of, like, some sort of, I don't know, cancer or something, is because at this point, I just think that the pun is funny. You know, Black Death, like black, we're in the black, we're in profit instead of being in red. I don't know. I think that's funny. You probably don't, but maybe you do. In which case, excellent. But we need to do more purchases here. So next up is going to be Novgorod. Let's see if we get it. We got it. The Soviet Union just keeps selling out. I love it. Let's see if we can get some of this exclave. They're not willing to give us some of it. Hey look, Chile declared war on the Chilean Socialist Republic. They keep doing this. Over and over and over. Okay, so this is from Romania here. They're unwilling to part with their land. Fair enough. We'll see if we can buy Sofia. We're trying to expand into Europe at this point. But let's see if they'll sell us Leningrad. That would be really funny if they sold us Leningrad. No, they're not willing to do that at this time. Fair enough. So let's see about the Confederated Finno-Russian Republics. You willing to give us any territory? You are. Beautiful. So that's definitely some additional territory, but it's not a huge amount that time. Denmark just declared war on Sweden. That's interesting. They're going to get crushed. Because that is, of course, the Northern People's Union declaring war on the Allies. Now, the Allies are substantially weaker, but they still have Germany, they still have France, they've got Poland here, they've got, who is this? Yeah, the Soviet Union here. They've got the Communist States of America, or what's left of them. It's going to be exciting for them, I'm sure, but yeah, they'll take that over. So that means that the only people left will be us and the Allies. That's fine. That's exactly what we expect. So we were queuing up some additional infrastructure, but there's not that much that we ended up actually getting here. There's this down over here. Did we get that? Yes, we did. Okay, so that's all fully built up. That looks good for now, although, yeah, that infrastructure is queued. So that seems fine. We're almost certainly not going to need more coastal forts, right? No, we are. We got this out over here. Okay, perfect. So we'll get that queued up, and then we'll get some civilian factories going here. That'll be top priority, but it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to continue closing shut the jaws of this trap. I can't believe they're actually going for it, but here we are. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge, Estiel, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.